Hey everyone, welcome back. Icon here. Thanks so much for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we're back on board with SCUMP himself as we're playing Hardpoint on the map Gunrunner. I don't know, I watched through this scrim and I just felt like this is the one where Chicago executed the most. And you guys, kind of over the last couple of weeks, I've tried to let you guys know that I'm really trying to pick ones that they win. There was like 2 weeks ago where they won one map against Atlanta, and that's the one that I uploaded. And some people were wondering why I didn't upload one of the ones that they lost. And the only reason being is because it's so hard to see things and what's going on when they're constantly dead and they don't have map control and they don't have control of different hills and stuff like that. So with this one, if you haven't noticed already, they are playing Seattle. So this is kind of like the second scrim in the last, I don't know, probably 4 days against Seattle. They've been playing them fairly often. So I don't know. I will say just real quick that it's been a little while since we've seen some of the other teams. I know they also just scrimmed Toronto. Those maps were kind of up and down. I didn't really see one that was really intriguing when I watched through that stream. But I don't know. We've been seeing a lot more of Seattle, so that is what we are watching today. As we go ahead and hop into the actual breakdown of what you're seeing on screen, it is just rotated from P1 to P2. As Chicago came up off of spawn to start this matchup, they had bad side. So the very first thing on that first hardpoint that you want to worry about is trying to flip spawns, and they weren't able to do that. So now as it goes back to P2, they're really trying to struggle and get map control and at least contest the best that you can, right? Because they didn't get any time, or they didn't get much time inside of P1. And now that they weren't able to break through P2 and they haven't been able to contest, it seems like these last 15 seconds are going to go towards Seattle. And if you're Chicago, the biggest thing to watch out for. So as you see SCUMP come up off of spawn, let me go ahead and try to explain just a little bit what's happening here. So SCUMP went down. We're about to rotate back to P3. So minimap kind of right in the middle of the right-hand side of your screen. We're rotating back to P3 here. And as SCUMP came up off of spawn, he spawned over here kind of by B-Dom. And the reason for that is because as Seattle leaves P2, instead of rotating in the quickest route here, what they prefer to do, or what teams really try to do now, is they try to go through P4 over to Woods, because if you can get on this side of the map, then as it rotates to P3, P4, and P5, you want to have this back warehouse spawn. So the reason why SCUMP challenged kind of by C-Dom, right by P4, and when he came up off of spawn, he spawned over by B-Dom, is because Seattle is in the middle of trying to push out P5. So as he comes up off of spawn, what do you see him doing? He's immediately cutting the map in half, and he's trying to get back to that P4 spawn over by Woods so that they can cut off that flank back behind. Now, one thing that people like to do once they go ahead and get behind P5, rather than try to get into P3 and try to get kills off that, they'll just hide back by those Jeeps that are back there. So that's exactly why you saw him really take his time in checking the corners, running behind the Jeep and all of that, because if there's somebody back there, all of a sudden, if Chicago were to have two die inside of Hill, then they would probably spawn out. So you had to be, it was a really nice job of Chicago being super thorough, pushing out that back P5 spawn, and then they can push forward and try to cut the map in half as you see them doing now. With about 13 seconds left in this current hardpoint, it does look like the lead is going to be completely turned around. And that's hard to do, right? On this map particular, it's really easy to hold P2 and it's really easy to hold P5, but holding something like P3 and P4, those are really difficult to hold. In order to hold something like P3, you really have to slay out, because essentially, again, let me go ahead and break this down where you can see exactly what's going on. Remember, Chicago finally got that back P5 spawn, so they were spawning here in P5. They had control of P3, which means most of the gun battles that they had against Seattle were in this lane right here, or even maybe mid-map and pushing through here. So when you're taking gun battles in this area of the map, if you don't win these gun battles right here, then essentially what happens is if you lose a team gun battle in that area of the map, now Seattle has control or has the ability to push up into the hard point. So the fact that they were able to win so many gun battles back to back to back in those choke points, that's something that's really impressive. It might be something that's overlooked a little bit, but P3, most of the time, if you're watching a map on P3, it ends up being really contested. It ends up kind of flipping multiple times, but that was a really nice job there. That was also a nice two-piece there from Scump inside of Hill. So as we're about 25 seconds away from rotating, you can see a lot of the green arrows on Chicago's minimap. They're really just making sure that they're locking down that left-hand flank lane, and this is really hard to do. It's kind of hard to just, if you have the back P5 spawn, it's super hard to contest and essentially go even throughout P4. So being able to hold down that back P5 spawn and going even over the course of P4, I would imagine at the end of the first set of rotations, they're going to have a pretty big lead, right? Right now it's tied, but where they're getting kills, again, this is one of the things that really separates some of those top teams from some like those average tier teams is, let me go ahead and pause this, but if they have P5, so if Chicago has P5 back here and they're getting the spawn, if you're getting the majority of your kills right here, like in boxes or on ADOM or somewhere around there, then it's probably about to be contested and it's going to muddy things up a little bit, right? But if you can get the majority of your kills out here by P1, by P4, maybe in green or in pipes or somewhere around there, now all of a sudden you're going to max out those points, because even if you lose, by the time Seattle's able to push up again and get up here by ADOM or by P3 or by boxes, all of your reinforcements have come up off of spawn and you're fighting those battles again. So that's kind of a really good sign of things that are going the right way, right? If you're able to get kills in mid-map, kind of by pipes or something like that, that's how you know that a map is going one team's way. So now, of course, it's hard to keep that up forever, right? Since SCUMP came up off of spawn in pipes, that means that Seattle's probably pushed up a little bit further over by woods on the left side of P1 over there. And again, it just flips back and forth, right? If you get one kill, that's enough to just kind of flip the map. But with 11 seconds left, you can see that there's a strong push for Seattle, or for Chicago, trying to flip the map here. So essentially, if they could string together an entire 60 seconds in P5 and an entire 60 seconds in P2, that's going to put this game almost out of hand, right? If it's 140 to 80 and they're able to get 60 seconds inside of P2, now all of a sudden it's 200 to 80. So that's why you don't see too much going on right around mid-map. Those are really nice kills from SCUMP again. A nice three-piece. Wow, he actually went in a little bit there. But if they're able to flip spawns, that's the most important thing. We'll end up see what's happening here. But it's already 150 to 83, and the best thing about scrims is that we can actually hear what they're talking about. So with that, I'm going to let you guys listen in. Let's turn up the volume. Let's hear exactly what they're talking about strategy-wise. I'll still pause it. I'll still chime in where I feel things are really important. But I do want to take this opportunity to let you hear exactly what they're talking about. So with that, let's go ahead and turn up the audio and listen to their strategies.
Keep up
on bathrooms. Make sure to go mid-track.
I'm going mid-track. One right side, just eye. Right, my boy.
I know it's early in this hardpoint, but so far this is basically 2 for 2 for Seattle, right? They're doing a really nice job of locking down this back P2. We'll see if they're able to hold it or not. And just like that, it's going to end up being flipped. That kill on Octane by Gunless in the back, that was the clutch kill, because if they don't get that kill, then they still have control of the back there. But since he was able to get that, now all of a sudden that was able to give Chicago a little bit of time, a little bit of leeway and map control, which now you can just see right there when Scump comes up off of spawn, he only has to run 10 feet to get into the hard point, whereas before they were kind of spawning kind of out of P4. So that's why it's so advantageous to get control and muddy things up inside of P2.
Just go D4.
On the heady, Sammy dead.
Got him, Sam. I killed Sam. More front. 3 dead. That's 3 dead. In P5.
I'm blocking. Guys, he's on you. Half wall, one shot, Damon.
You right there.
Spawner.
One's in the back, but...
And there, you just saw this is the exact same thing. Let me pause this real quick, but this is literally the same thing that we were just talking about. The problem is that on the first set of rotations, Seattle was unsuccessful at this. On the second set of rotations, Chicago was successful. So as they rotated from P2, you could see right now, look at the minimap in the top left-hand corner, actual on the screen here. You can see these green arrows back here by P5. And the one that's in the left specifically, the one with the arrow pointing to it, that's the person that left P2, went all the way through Woods, through P4, and got back behind Warehouse. So since they were able to get positioning back behind Warehouse, now they're going to worry about the battle inside of P3, but the whole reason why they're doing all of this is because eventually when it gets to P5, if they can get another 60 seconds, if they can get 60 more seconds inside of P5, they don't have to do another thing on this map, right? Doesn't matter what happens in P3, doesn't matter what happens in P4. They can literally give up all 120 seconds as long as they hold down P5. So they just want to make sure they get spawns first and then rotate and try to contest inside of P3 and P4.
He's back. He's back door.
Spawn forest. I'm
pinching
mid.
That's it.
I'm going to hill. I have a trophy.
I'm not fucking...
I'm trying to hit forest and mid.
Jerry got me in pipes.
Walkers.
One shot.
Walker's weak.
I wonder if Slacked heard him right there. He had to have, right? Because that was an odd position for Scump to be in. So he had to have heard him running through pipes in order for him to get that kill. Because if I was playing that, I would have never guessed somebody to be in pipes in Venom right there.
We're in front of old.
Mid-track, Sammy.
Nice kill by Octane.
Really?
He's hitting it now.
Yeah, he just smoked it.
But this is where it really becomes trouble for Seattle. Is not only were you able to flip spawns, but after you flip spawns, you were able to kill out, you were able to slay out and get inside of P3. So this is where the trouble really starts to arise.
Force control. Yeah, I'm looking. Force, got me oil weak.
That's not good.
Oh. I like that Scump said that's not good because those were kind of blew that one there.
Other one, inner crates.
Inner dead.
Good shots. Pick up.
Stop track.
Native rock.
He's inner crates.
Open dead. One more.
Flash on time. Pick up left on spawn.
Yeah, I will. I have it.
I got naded test by yourself. Open crate.
Another nice set of kills. A nice three-piece there from Scump. So the only job that he has right now is just being a nuisance inside the hill. Doesn't matter if he's not worried about spawns. He's not worried about slaying out, or he's not worried about trying to maintain map position. His only job at that point in time was getting inside of P4, and if he can steal 10, 15 points, that's the only thing he was trying to do at the moment.
Trying to get the kill in the back.
The fuck? One's green.
Oh, dude, I just played tight box.
Doggy.
I'm top. Box is open.
One P3.
Box is dead.
I don't know. Green ramp.
Got me in the back.
Hey, Dom, dead. Half fall dead.
Spawn green.
Oil. You spawned oil.
Yeah, P3 spawns.
Man, Scump is frying at the moment. Sheesh. Think about it. The last 4 kills right there, as it was in clutch time, the last 4 kills right there all came from Scump. And essentially what he did is he was able to get kills in those choke points that kept Seattle from contesting inside of P5. Now, of course, there was a lot of other things going on, but he got a kill at Adon. He got a kill in boxes. He got a kill at P3. And essentially, he's just working those choke points, just not letting them actually get inside. And with that, as we look at the scores overall, Scump with basically a 30 bomb, Envoy with a 30 bomb. Really, the slaying was pretty even, right? It's not like a bunch of the SMGs from Seattle dropped 14 or 15, right? I mean, they were all basically in the 20s. Sure, overall, Chicago's numbers were a little bit higher, but a lot of it, especially on this map, just ended up being one team was in position and the other team wasn't. So if you're new around here, this is the first time that you have watched my videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, you liked what you watched, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you head on your way. Thank you guys so much for the support recently. I super appreciate it. If you have any comments whatsoever, put them down below. I love the interactions. I try to get back to everybody. And with that, leave a like before you head on your way, and I will catch you in tomorrow's daily upload.